Good morning, good afternoon, folks from everywhere. Morning, Felix, or good afternoon for you.
Good morning, Eva. How are you?
Good. I'm well into my second cup of coffee here in Seattle.
Yeah, here in Bochum, I am into my first Coke. Yes, it's 5 p.m. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us in your Friday afternoon. We've got a exciting day planned ahead of us with lots of discussions, hopefully. Felix, did you want to share any attendee stats? Do you have anything for us?
Yes. I think I just got the latest from Ashley from the Linux Foundation, and we have just about 350 registered attendees, which is great, pretty amazing, of which roughly 40% are from the US, and maybe even a bit surprisingly given the time zone, on second place is India with 11%.
Wow.
But if you could, and maybe also surprisingly is the third place, which is Germany with 6%. So I guess we, the two of us reflect the audience kind of well here on stage. Fourth is UK, and then is France, and then is Canada. So I think we have a very good mix here. Obviously, some bias towards North America, but I guess it was to be expected given the time zone. But I still appreciate the folks from Europe spending their free time on Friday night, Friday evening with us here, and obviously even more impressive from India, spending your Friday late night, early Saturday morning with us. So that's great. Thank you.
Well, welcome to all the folks from all over the world. Yeah, I was going to give a little update on the consortium. I don't have anything planned for that, but I think it's been an amazing, last 6 months or so in terms of projects getting involved. A couple more things cropping up and at least coming to my attention with SevSMP. I'm really excited to have some folks here today from AMD to talk about that. I've seen work in Kata containers. It's outside of the consortium, but really related. And I know the Linux Foundation, or Linux Plumbers Conference coming up later this year now has a track dedicated to hardening the kernel for our security model. How do you protect a guest against a host? So I'm seeing not just in the consortium, but all over our industry, this work sort of cropping up in different areas. And I think we've got a great nexus of all that here today with lots of different perspectives for folks.
Yeah, I think it is really exciting times for confidential computing, and I think what's special about this event today is that it seems to really bring different communities together. Like, I think there are a couple of communities that are really adjacent to our community. For example, the cloud native community. I think it's almost inevitable that cloud native and confidential computing will grow together, and obviously we need the Linux folks to build the right kernels, and it's great to have those people here. And I believe, we will really look back at this event and say maybe this was the time, maybe the place where it really started to spill over to other audiences.
Yeah, and I know we have some folks today from who are working on attestation, and folks hopefully from the IETF joining us to talk about their work on standardizing attestation. I'm really excited to see cross-cloud and cross-TEE work happening. I think that's going to be the most important usability aspect for customers, for users, for anyone who wants to deploy this between edge or an on-prem cloud or in a public cloud. So we've got a track set up for that today. And I want to remind folks, or sort of describe what the structure of the day is going to be. So we have one session. It's going to be here on the main stage, starting in about an hour and 10 minutes of sort of traditional conference talks. And Karen is going to be our MC for those. But in parallel to that, there are 3 tracks of unconference. And an unconference, if you're not familiar with it, is basically you all, attendees, get to decide what that looks like. We've got a little bit of a structure and some fantastic moderators, George and Bob and Felix here. Will facilitate conversations, but the topics are up to all of you. So start those engines now thinking about things you want to talk about or you want to learn about. You don't have to present, but there's the opportunity to. We will introduce how all that works after the keynotes. But to help get started, Felix, do you want to talk about the tools a little bit?
Yeah. So first of all, I think it's a super interesting approach, the unconference approach. And to be honest, I hadn't heard about it until this event. But I think it's great that it really democratizes the agenda building. And we'll be using different tools to build this today. First, we'll be using a web application called Stickies. And we'll give a thorough introduction to that later after the keynote. But maybe just to give you an idea what this looks like. This is what our Stickies boards looks like. And it's, well, still pretty empty. And hopefully by the end of this morning session, we will have many interesting topics stick to this whiteboard. And then Aeva and me will select the most popular ones. And then this will essentially become the schedule for today. Yeah. And once we have that schedule, we'll use another tool called HackMD. And let me share a different window for that. Or actually, you should have a link for that in your attendee guide. And it's essentially Markdown as a service. And we'll use that to note down interesting aspects of our conversations that we'll have throughout the day in our unconference sessions, in our 3 tracks. And this will be like a collaborative effort. This will be multiplayer HackMD or multiplayer Notepad, if you like. Maybe we'll have very interesting insights after this event in these Markdown files.
Now, there will be a Google slide that we're using sort of to help everybody navigate this virtual event. It's sort of like your imaginary hallway or your signage, since we're not in an in-person event. But there should be a link. If not, you'll get one soon. It looks like this. It's basic, but it's useful to navigate. And what's going to happen after the agenda is built is all of those things that say breakout A1 right now, that's a link to the HackMD file that Felix was just talking about. Those will be updated with the session names after we build that agenda together. And then during that session, you can click that link, hop in, and everybody in the virtual room can edit it together. You can add notes, you can add ideas live during the event, and that's sort of how we capture notes, which leads me to want to share one more thing. The hop-in platform we're in, it does have a chat feature, but that's going to be lost. So it's great for saying hello and meeting people and doing introductions, but for the actual discussion sessions, if you'd like any of the minutes to be kept or cool ideas to be kept, I'd like to direct you either to the HackMD or to our Slack instance, which you can join, and there's a room in Slack for each session.
Right.
Oh no, where's
so
my
we have plenty to the Slack. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and a little note that the unconference discussions are unrecorded. If you see a little recording icon here, I promise you we're not going to post it anywhere. We'll delete it, but the main stage will be recorded. This should give folks a little bit more comfort and freedom to talk openly in the unconference.
Yes. And also, you don't need to be afraid to miss the talks on the main stage while you are on the unconference tracks. Obviously, it's great if you are on main stage and ask questions to the presenters, but the talks on main stage will be recorded and also be available on YouTube afterwards, I believe.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's just about. Are we at time to start the keynotes yet, or?
I think we're a couple of seconds ahead of schedule. Or now, I think now is the right time. Yes.
Okay.